Hi and welcome to Real Reviews, where today I'm going to be going off the beaten track and talking theatre for the first time instead of TV or film. So this one is called Skylight. It was performed at the Wyndham Theatre in 2014 and gets a cinema release over the coming weeks. It stars Carey Mulligan and Bill Nighy, and it was written by David Hare, who is a well-respected, well-revered and Oscar-nominated screenwriter. So let's get into it, shall we, and just see what all this theatre fuss is about. So in this particular play, which is split over two acts, we have Kyra, who is played by Carey Mulligan, and Tom, who is played by Bill Nighy. Now, one is a school teacher and the other is an entrepreneur. Tom is the restaurateur, and Kyra has had a relationship in the past with him when she was a waitress in one of his establishments. She's now much older, much wiser, and lives somewhere around the North Circular. It's never entirely decided where within the dialogue of the play. And what happens essentially is this is a two-hander between the two actors, both Oscar nominated for various things. Bill Nighy for Living last year, I believe, and Carey Mulligan has been nominated for, I believe, Promising Young Woman as well. So essentially what they have is a back and forth of what their old relationship used to consist of. How he played the older, wealthier man, and she was obviously attracted to that in some form or other. They then had an affair which was carried on behind his wife's back, and then she broke it off as soon as the wife found out. So what you get their interactions. You get the son, played by Matthew Beard, who is also a well-known actor, but maybe not so much in film and TV. And it plays out around various themes of disparity between, should we say, government initiatives which were all given to entrepreneurs in the 90s, which is when this play is set, and the way that social workers and teachers and people who actually shall we say, gave back to society on a sort of grassroots level, how they were treated. So there's a lot of political agenda going in there, maybe not the sort of thing that everybody would enjoy, but there's certainly a great deal of snappy dialogue. There's some really interesting and challenging exchanges, and Carey Mulligan and Bill Nighy are excellent as respectively Kyra and Tom. So let's dive a little bit deeper into this and see what else there is to chat about. So what comes through most prevalently within this show, within this play, is that sense of momentum, and it's an exchange of ideas. It's exactly what theatre should be, in my opinion. It should be challenging. It should address contemporary issues, which is exactly why it's being released in cinemas now. Because obviously David Hare and the National Theatre consider this to be a very prevalent play. This seems to have a lot of teeth to it, a lot of backbone. It has a great deal to say. So from my point of view, differences between movie, TV and theatre. Theatre is much more immediate, it's much more organic, it's very much more in the moment. You have to create your own cuts within the play itself in terms of where you look, where you focus your attention, so on and so forth. And also obviously the dialogue is going to be different. It's not and the performances are going to be slightly more exaggerated because they are on a play. In this case, it's in a London flat, and you have to pay attention. You can't just drift off, and there aren't, everything isn't so much. There's not as much spoon feeding potentially as there might be in TV and film. Theatre is very much more, it's looked upon as quite a cultured thing, but I like to consider theatre to be something which is very much open to the masses, even if in some cases it does tend to price itself out the market. Point being this, I think this is worth seeing in the cinema. I think it holds up. I think the National Theatre initiative called NT Live, where there's a website you can join and watch these plays being performed as they were at the time when they premiered, is just the most amazing thing. And I think there's much more that can be learned. There's stuff that you can learn from theatre that maybe necessarily doesn't come through in TV and films, because it's inherently much more mass produced by the fact that it is what it is. Theatre is, it is ever so slightly different every week, and these people are out there and their performances change. And that's the great thing. That is, I think, what makes Skylight so good, is the writing, the acting, and the underlying cultural themes it addresses. So I'm going to move on to that rating. So for my first NT Live review of theatre on film, or at least projected on a big screen, I'm going to give this 4 out of 5. I think for all the reasons I've already gone over, that I think this oldest of mediums it's a different way of looking at cinema. It's a different way of experiencing cinema. It's not a big studio blockbuster. It's not an indie feature. It's none of the things which you would associate, and yet it brings all the cultural importance of that medium to a bigger audience, and that's the point. So 4 out of 5. Let's move on. Let's close up with that trailer now. Right, and so it is that you've reached the end of my first theatre review for NT Live Skylight, which is a David Hare play which is currently doing the rounds in cinemas as we speak. This is the bit where I go, if you like the video, then give me the thumbs up. Don't be afraid to click it. If you want to drop a comment in the comment boxes below, then please let me know what you thought of this. If you like more theatre reviews, then I can do more, because NT Live, they just keep coming. And thirdly, if you would like to subscribe, then every Tuesday and every Saturday when I drop another one of these videos, you'll get a little notification, and then you can watch or listen to as much as you like, and then go about your day. In the meantime, check out my Patreon page and check out the rest of the channel. Take care. Talk soon.